Welcome to Business Blurred View and the Women Running Businesses podcast. My name is Francisca Lee, and I'll be your host. If this is your first time listening to Women Running Businesses, we are a weekly podcast that brings successful female entrepreneurs in every week to dive deeper into their minds. So stick around to hear authentic and honest conversations surrounding entrepreneurship, and make sure to subscribe to stay in the loop. Today, we have a very special guest, Gianna Christine. Gianna, best known as Vagiana on various platforms, is an influencer with over 2 million followers on TikTok. She's TikTok's CEO of rapping and also once beefed with the infamous Trisha Paytas. Gianna, we're so glad to have you on here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So let's start off with talking about your TikTok. You're most well known for your rapping videos. How long does it usually take to make one of those?
So for the raps, usually if it's something I already know a lot about or like a person I know a lot about, it's pretty quick. If I have to do some research, it takes about maybe an hour or so of research and then like 30 minutes to actually write the rap.
Nice. So kind of walk me through like how you choose, who you're rapping about and like how that process starts from the start to completion. What does that process kind of look like for you?
Okay, yeah. So, like the first time I actually wrote a rap, I wrote one about my friend Alyssa. We're friends now, but I had seen like she was always involved in doing rap, so I decided to write about her. And I'd seen some of her videos, but I didn't know that much about her. So this is like an average one for me. So I went to her page. I'll look through her videos, I'll find things to write about, and I try to like find things that are more funny versus like straight up mean in a diss track.
Yeah.
So I just try to find little things or patterns I notice in their videos, and I write them all down in my notebook until I have a list of maybe like 10-ish things. And then I just start trying to like put into words things I want to say. And then I will either like use a dictionary or sometimes like a rhyming website to help me if I get stuck on rhymes. But it kind of it's just like flows for me. I think like ever since I was younger, I used to actually write raps like about my family members and stuff as a joke. So that's pretty much the process.
That's awesome. It definitely takes some of that creative energy to do that.
Yeah.
So on a normal basis, do you usually pre-plan out like all the videos you're going to shoot and batch a bunch of videos to post throughout the week? Or do you kind of just shoot whenever you're feeling it and whatever you're kind of feeling that day?
Yeah, so when I first started my TikTok and it was growing a lot, I really had everything planned. I had a set amount of TikToks I wanted to post every day for consistency to grow my account. But now, I'm also focusing on other business things. So right now, I want my TikTok more to be for fun. So if I have an idea, I'll try to post it, or sometimes like some things I'll work on for a few days. But it's definitely now just more like what I'm feeling. It's more creative. I don't have myself on a set schedule. It's just however I'm feeling.
That's awesome. So when did you kind of start seeing that like momentum in your follower numbers? Like, was it one day you woke up and was like, oh my God, there's actually like millions of people out there who are watching my videos? Like, how did you kind of react to that?
Yeah, that was crazy. I started my TikTok for a school project. I just graduated business school actually, and I was taking a social media class. They wanted us to make a TikTok. And so after just like posting videos on there for my project, like one of them just took off. I wanted to try out for American Idol with my friend, and we couldn't get into the Zoom. So I was like, you know what? I'll just film the song I was going to do and post it on TikTok. And then that video got like 5 million views. And I was just freaking out, and I was like, okay, I'll just keep going with this. And it just like kept on growing. It was crazy.
Yeah. How long did it kind of take before you saw your follower numbers start to like consistently grow?
Um, it actually was growing like quite fast I think like it took maybe about a month of me just posting random videos until I figured out like what worked. And then once I did figure out what worked, I was posting 3 to 5 videos a day, and my followers were just going up like between 10 and 20,000 a day, sometimes even like 50,000 in a day.
Oh my
And
God, that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, I was posting a lot. So now it's definitely slowed down because I'm just doing it more for fun. But I noticed in the beginning, yeah, it took like a month for something to hit, but once it did, it was just like crazy, like consistent.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you started TikTok as, a part of a school project. What was kind of its appeal for you to continue doing it other than just like a one and done, school project?
Yeah, so I've always been interested in social media. I never knew exactly like what kind of job I want to have, but I knew it would be related to social media, and I had been doing it on and off like inconsistently on different platforms for a few years. So once like it started actually taking off and I was like, "Oh, people like the content I'm making." I just thought it was like an opportunity that I couldn't pass up, so I just kept doing that along with school.
For sure. What other platforms have you, been on with social media?
So the main ones I've tried out like most of them, but the main ones I used Instagram before my TikTok, and I had a small following on there, but I was able to monetize it a little bit and do some brand deals. And then in the past, I've done YouTube on and off for a while, and I'm actually going to be relaunching my channel on there soon. But I just felt like TikTok, it was the easiest way for me to be creative, just because the a video allows you to do so much more than just a picture, but because the time is so short, it's just a lot easier to make than a full like 10-minute YouTube video.
For sure, for sure. And speaking of different platforms, there's a lot of, different social media platforms that come about and kind of get us hype and then just kind of dies off within a couple of years. Where do you kind of see TikTok going in the next year or so?
I think right now, like I think TikTok's gonna be doing well for a while. I noticed the other platforms like Instagram, honestly, I don't use it that much now. I feel like a lot of people aren't. They're turning more to like kind of full of ads and just a lot of shopping and features like that, and it's not so much about the content. And I think the most important thing that sometimes these platforms forget about is the creators, because that's what makes users want to join the app. And so once they stop losing, like they lose focus of making the platform enjoyable for creators, I feel like creators will go to a different one. And right now I think most creators really enjoy using TikTok, so I think it will definitely be around a few years as long as there's no major changes.
For sure. I think it's really important for, the social media platforms to think about at this core, like who's using it and what's making it so successful.
Mhm.
And I think when they start becoming kind of really popular, they kind of lose sight of that. So that's really cool that you mentioned that.
Yeah, thanks. I totally agree with what you just said.
Yeah. So, how do you handle like all your emails and any brand deals? Do you have a manager? I'm assuming you get bombarded with like all sorts of messages all the time.
Yeah, so I do everything myself. I actually just started working with a company, so I'll be actually managing some other TikTokers. Um and so I have something set up through that company, and some things I just do myself. I kind of have an idea of like what brands I want to work with. Sometimes the emails do pile up, but I just know like, okay, I like my content to be mostly just entertainment content that I make and not that many promotions. So I decide like this is how many I want to do, like 2 sponsorships in a month. I'll look through and see which brands I like connect with the most, or if it's someone I've really been wanting to work with, and then I'll partner with them.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of which, what are some like dream brands or dream creators, like, dream collaborations that you've had that you want to do?
Oh, for in the future, I would love to do some merch. I was looking at that before, but I felt like I just wanted to actually like work on it some more, and I felt like I don't know, I just wanted to make better products than what we had designed. Like I thought they were cool, but I wanted it to be perfect. So that's something like when I have a little bit more time in the future, I want to make merch that's more like a clothing line. So instead of just like having my name or things on it, I really want to spend time designing it and making it really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I know a lot of people like they just kind of as soon as they get a little bit of fame, they're like, let's slap my name on everything possible. And they don't really think about like what they're putting out there. So I really like that you're thinking about, not just putting your name out there.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think also like something I'd love to do in the future, I just need to figure out is like when I have other interests that maybe I don't talk about, I could start incorporating more, because in the past I really enjoy like fitness and healthy eating. So in the past I was looking at maybe making a protein powder, something like that. So definitely in the future, I'd like to explore like something besides the singing and rapping, like a different passion of mine, and find a way to like incorporate that into my social media and make a product.
For sure, yeah. So you mentioned, kind of working with other, managing other creators. How do you think your experiences, having such an influential following and, your experiences, how do you think those would really help you with managing other people?
Yeah, I think that's a really big factor with why like I work well with other creators because I have like this experience. I feel like it's something that a lot of people they just you don't fully get it until like it's happened to you like dealing with the hate comments or things like that, just the whole experience in general or like how overwhelming it could be sometimes. So I think that and the fact that I'm like younger and closer in age to a lot of the creators I'm working with, it helps me relate to them. And so our main thing is we want the creators to actually enjoy what they're doing instead of just trying to make as much money as possible. We want them to like the content we're making, like work at a speed that they feel is most comfortable for them. So I think that's just really helped me like keep their perspective in mind at all times.
For sure. And a lot of these, like, kind of up and coming influencers, they're really young and like really impressionable.
Mhm.
So they'll kind of just take everything at face value and just trust, the first person who's like, I'll help you get to where you want to be.
Yeah. And I think also like because I'm friends with a lot of creators too, they've just mentioned things to me that they didn't like with their management or with certain companies they work with. So I just try to keep everything in mind, like from what I've learned and talking to other people, just to make sure that everyone that I work with has the best experience possible.
For sure. Yeah. So LA is kind of known to be, a super kind of not super toxic, but kind of toxic place depending on like where you put yourself. Have you really had any like bad experiences as an influencer in LA?
No, I haven't. I don't live in LA full time. I'm actually there now for some work. I had some work meetings, but I go back and forth from my hometown in Florida to LA, and so far it's been a good experience. I think I'm just really lucky that I found a really good group of friends that are all like I think we would be friends regardless of social media if we had met in other situations. I've definitely noticed like there's some people where it's really obvious like they just want to be friends with some people just for clout or they only want to hang out with them just to film collaborations with them. But for the most part, the people I've surrounded myself with have been like such amazing friends to me, and we all just like get along so well.
That's awesome. And I think it's really important to have that, support system around you that will support you in like what you're doing, have kind of the same goals. How did you go about finding, friends that are have that share the same goals as you?
Yeah, so it's actually funny. Like a lot of my friends, used to watch like one of my closest friends, Tati, she's the first TikTok friend I met up with. Like I used to watch her videos. I actually would watch like her videos with Devin. That's when I first showed up on my page. And I thought she was so funny. Like we had a really similar sense of humor. So I was like, oh, let me just reach out to her. And I just DM'd her and we started talking. And then a few months later, like we ended up when we both had to go to LA for work, we just ended up staying in an Airbnb together and we were such good friends. And then like through her, I met a bunch of other people. So like some people I feel like are different in their videos than online, but she's one of those people and a few other people like that. I've seen their videos and I just knew we would be friends, so I just reached out to them and it ended up working out. And now like all of us talk all the time, and I just keep meeting friends through my other friends, which is great.
That's awesome. And there are really some people who like you could just tell that their energy through the screen is like genuine. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So speaking of, reaching out to people through DMs, who's the most famous person that has slid into your DMs?
Slid into my DMs. I have to think about it because I honestly I don't post on Instagram that much. So I don't check my DMs. I'm trying to think. Like probably the person with the most followers that I talk to is my friend Duke, who's Willy Wonka on TikTok. Yeah, I used to make like videos about him as a joke, and then he saw them and would comment. And now we're actually like such good friends. We just filmed a video together the other day that will probably be up soon.
That's awesome. So walk me through kind of what like I know like your day to day is probably crazy different, but like what kind of does a normal week in your life look like?
Okay, yeah, it's been crazy for me because it changed so much because I was in school most of the time and I actually just graduated in December. So now it's a little bit harder for me to have structure with my day because it's kind of all up to me. But I try to wake up like pretty early and just get ready for the day. Even if I don't have to have my makeup and everything done, I like to do it because it just makes me feel like, oh, I'm getting ready for work. And then I also like to try to exercise in the morning if I get up in time. That really helps me and like that's when I come up with my creative thoughts. So then later in the day, is when I'll respond to emails. I try to get that done, and then I'll do my talent managing work. So I work with a company for that, and we have some influencers that are signed. So I'll spend a few hours just doing whatever we need to get done for that. That's different every day. Like either we're have meetings or we're like making content plans or things like that. And then usually later in the days when I work on my own videos. So that's when I'll make some TikToks or maybe I'll take Instagram pictures. Right now I'm focused mostly on TikTok, but soon I'm going to start doing more YouTube and things like that. And then at night I try to make sure, because it's hard when you work for yourself. Sometimes I just want to work all the time, but I try to make sure at night to have some time with my family, like to watch TV with them or have dinner together, things like that, or maybe see one of my friends. And then I just go to sleep, and it's, yeah, the same thing every day, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome that you get to spend some time with your family as well. Like, I think it's really important to, make time for people who like were always there for you.
Yeah.
How did your family kind of react when you like kind of just blew up on TikTok? Did they have any like positive, negative reactions?
Yeah, so it was mostly positive because they know like I've been interested in social media for so long, and like when I was younger, my dad would take me to like social media conventions like Playlist Live and stuff. So he was like really excited for me. That's like, oh wow, like now she's like working as a creator and everything. They weren't so happy about my username, the fat. But I didn't think my account was gonna blow up, so I just put that as a joke. That used to be my Finsta name. But other than that, like they're pretty happy with it. Sometimes I I have more edgy humor or things like that, and they don't like if I like swear or anything like that. Because I forget, like I'll end up on like the neighbors for you page or one of their friends or things like that. So that's the only time we have a little bit of issues. But for the most part, they're like so supportive and they're really happy for me.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a particular story behind your username, or was it just kind of like, hey, it's a play on my name? Awesome. We'll go with that.
Yeah, so it actually was from in high school. My best friend Julie, she was texting me, and I don't know what happened. It was some issue with like the autocorrect or whatever, and it ended up like she typed my name. It's said as like Vagiana, and we just thought that was hilarious. And then the name kind of stuck. Like she started calling me that, and then like her parents started calling me that, and a lot of my close friends, like that was just their nickname for me. Like they would call me like Vag or Vagiana, and so it's just like a funny little nickname. So that's why I made that the username.
Oh yeah, that's actually kind of like crazy awesome. Just how the name goes.
Thanks.
So you mentioned you just graduated recently, which congratulations,
Thank
that
you.
is awesome. What did you when you entered college? Did you think that your major was going to stay that way? Did you come in wanting to do social media, or did you end up changing your major throughout the years?
So when I started school, like I knew some things I was interested in. I knew I was interested in business and social media, but I wasn't sure like exactly what job I wanted to have. But one of the reasons I picked my school that I went to was because they had this program where my degree is in international business, but then you could pick a concentration, and they had one for digital media and technology. So that was a lot of social media classes, but also on the data side, analytics and stuff. And so I thought that would be broad enough that really any job I wanted that would have to do with business or social media, I could use that major for. So I just applied like right into the business school with that, and I actually just stuck with that major the whole time through.
That's awesome. I know most college kids end up changing their major like 3 or 4 times. I know I changed mine like twice in the last couple of years.
But
So,
yeah, I think
so yeah.
also like I wanted to graduate early. Well, I was actually the reason I graduated early, I was supposed to travel this semester, so that ended up not working out. But because I wanted to graduate early, that was also motivation. I was like, I can't change my major or else I won't be able to finish early.
Oh my God, for sure. Yeah. So, what's kind of your favorite part about being in LA and being surrounded by that creative energy?
I think it's definitely the people. Like I notice a big difference when I'm at home, especially with everything going on now. I don't really see, like I just stay at my house with my family, um, and most of my I don't have that many friends in my hometown because I went to like college in a different state. So I'm not really around people who are the same age as me or get the same jokes as me or anything like that. But when I'm in LA, I usually try to stay with people I'm friends with, and then we're all just like all day just joking around or like making jokes or just like acting certain ways. Like we just goof off a lot, and that really helps me be creative and come up with things to incorporate into my videos. And also, like, we like to help each other with ideas. So if someone comes up with something, we might help them, like, oh wait, you should call it this, or oh, what if you like added this to it, and we just bounce off each other a lot.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, LA was getting quite a bit of bad media coverage the past few months with influencers kind of, just disregarding the whole pandemic. Are there still parties that you hear about happening, or like have you been affected by that at all?
So yeah, I've definitely seen all the stuff in the media. I try to be I have not gotten COVID so far. Like, hopefully I don't get it. I try to be pretty careful, especially like at home, like because I see my grandparents and stuff. So whenever I travel, if I have to travel for work, I take a COVID test before I go and like the second I get home, and I don't leave my room until I get the results. And I know like my friend group, we try to be careful. Um, I'm sure people are probably still doing things. Like I remember I was in an Uber the other day and the driver was saying that there's like clubs and stuff secretly open in LA. I don't know what's going on with that. But we try to just like kind of stay in our little contained group that all stays in the Airbnb together. So we're not really being exposed to too many people. And then we try to do outdoor activities. Like we wanted to work out, but sometimes the gym could be like an area where you could get COVID. So we decided to go for a hike outside yesterday. That was a way for us to get exercise and just trying to be like safe, but also still having good experience. Like it's still important to me to work out or things like that.
For sure. It sounds like you guys are being very smart about what you're doing.
Yeah, we're trying.
So you infamously once had a TikTok beef with Trisha Paytas. Can you tell me a little bit about like how that got started and what kind of happened with that?
Yeah, so I've actually been kind of following Trisha for like a while. I've seen some stuff about her, but I wasn't like super involved in her stuff. But I noticed like I try to like not just randomly make diss tracks about people. It's usually about my friends. But I was like I saw Trisha making all these videos about Charlie D'Amelio when she was getting a lot of hate, and I know like she was really upset about it on live, and Trisha just kept making these videos, and so I felt bad because I was like, she's, making fun of like this teenager. So I'm like, let me just make a diss track on Trisha. And it like blew up. Like I think in the first maybe 24 hours it was at like 10 million views or something like that. And TikTok ended up taking it down, but she saw it before they took it down, and then she made some videos back at me. I made more back at her. Um, I thought it was funny.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think that's just more humorous for everyone.
Mhm.
And so we all know about, what TikTok Room is. Have you ever landed a spot on TikTok Room?
So I actually no, I never have. I think because I always do like diss tracks, people are used to it for me. So like if someone random just made a diss track about someone else, it'd probably be big news. But because I do it so often, it's just like people know me like, oh, you're the girl that does diss tracks. So it's just kind of common for me, I guess.
So how do you kind of like stay out of all that drama?
I feel like in real life, I'm definitely not a person that gets involved with drama. Like if I don't get along with someone, I just won't see them. I don't worry about them. I just try to stay with like my group of friends that I trust. So I don't really get involved with drama. Even with the diss tracks, like I try to keep them light. Because I don't want to say anything that like actually is really hurting people's feelings. That's never my intention. I just want to keep it jokes. So I just am not really a person who, like really wants to have drama with someone. Like I'll do like little funny things. If we go back and forth, like I've done that with some of my friends, but yeah, nothing too extreme.
For sure. I think it's really important to kind of know where that fine line
Yeah.
is. And how do you think, being, there's so many influencers that are so young, they're like, what, 14, 15 years old. And then, you're kind of in the middle area.
Mhm.
How do you think being slightly older has kind of helped you navigate all of this?
Yeah, I think it's helped me so much. I can't imagine how hard it must be to be really young and have so many people like watching your every move. I think because I'm older and I've gone through, high school, college, I like had a good amount of life experience. Even though I'm young, I kind of know myself. I know who I am. And like, if hate comments, they don't affect me at all. Like, just because, I don't know, I've been bullied in school for things like that. Like, so if just some random person on the internet who's probably like a 9-year-old kid, so that doesn't affect me at all. Like, even when all my comments are hate. So that's, I think, something that's good for me, because I know it's hard for a lot of creators. Personally, that doesn't bother me. And I feel like it also helps me, like, I feel like I can keep a pretty clear head when I'm making decisions, of what to post, what not to post. Like, I think it just helps being a little bit older and more mature.
For sure. And I think you're at like perfect place where like you're still young enough that you have, a lot ahead of you, but you also are mature enough that you have experience and can make those like good judgmental decisions.
Yeah, I think that's definitely been a big advantage for me.
For sure. So, do you ever deal with creative burnout? Your TikToks are so creative. Like, I don't know how you come up with those ideas.
Thanks.
How do you kind of like deal with any burnout?
Yeah, so when I first started, like, well, I guess when I did social media years ago, on and off, that would happen. But with TikTok, like, from the time I started to a few months in and I was growing, that never happened to me. Like, I was posting multiple times per day. Like, I would always just either go with the trends or ideas. That's actually happened to me more recently. And I think it's just because I've just started doing other things and like want to focus my time. I realized that once I like finished school and I was doing TikTok full time, I actually wanted to pursue more business things versus just the creative. So I think it's a time thing. Like, it actually takes me a lot of time to be creative, and not in the way of like sitting down and think of videos. I just have to do random things throughout my day that, and then like an idea will just pop in my head. So when I'm busy, like working all day, it doesn't give me time to just randomly like come up with ideas, if that makes sense. So that's something I kind of deal with now, but I feel like I go through phases. If I am having a lot of ideas, then I'll just post a lot that day. Some days if I need to take a break, I'll just let myself take a break. I know it's probably not like the best move for the algorithm, but it's like what works for me.
For sure. And TikTok's algorithm is constantly changing, so you never know what the next thing you put out might just be the next big trend.
Yeah, exactly. You never know like what's going to go viral.
Speaking of viral,
Mm-hmm.
what has been your most viral video to date?
I would have to check. There was two that were really close. Like, one of them was there's this video called like the Dark Horse Challenge, where they sang like the Katy Perry Dark Horse song. And that I literally couldn't believe. I just saw someone doing it. I think it was a Vine trend originally. And so I was like, oh, let me do this. I filmed it in my bathroom. The lighting was so bad. Like, I didn't think it would do good at all. I was honestly just trying to get a video up that day. And that video, I don't know, I think it was at like 12 million views the last time I checked. And then another, but I don't know what it's at now. And then my other biggest one, I think, was the one that I did. There was this video of James Charles and Anthony Gargiula, who Anthony actually has become like one of my friends now. But they did a video singing TikTok songs. And so I just like recreated it. Where they were talking about like Gucci shoes, and I wore these crazy slippers on my feet, and that just blew up a lot too. So those are my two most viral.
That's awesome. I think I actually remember seeing both of those videos come across my
That's
FYP.
so funny.
So, looking towards the future, what are kind of your long-term goals, say in the next like 5 to 10 years?
Okay, yeah. So one of my big goals, I really want to work on the talent management side of things. Um, I just realized, like, as much as I love being creative, I am so interested in the business side. So I definitely want to work on some like really big brand deals for some of my clients. So that's like one side. And then on the creative side, that's something I've been thinking a lot now. I think I definitely want to start doing more YouTube, and I want to show like my personality more. I feel like it's kind of hard with TikTok because the videos are so short, um to actually like just show what like how I am. Like, a lot of people don't know anything, like literally anything about me or like what I would do in my days. So that's something else I want to do. I kind of want to just show like more of my actual personality.
For sure. Do you think that'll be difficult? Like, because people already have kind of this painted picture of like who you are from your TikToks. Do you think it'll be difficult to kind of convert, followers onto those different platforms?
Yeah, I think it might, but I just think like right now, because I have like this other job and I'm not relying on this for an income, like at first it might, have drops in views or things like that. but I think it'll be easier for me to not have burnout, and also just like to be consistent, because I'm not like just, it's not always trying to come up with like trends or viral things. It's more just like showing your personality. So I think in the long run, it will be better because I would have people who are like following me just because they like my personality and not just when I post goofy stuff.
For sure. That's so
Mm-hmm.
important. And then just looking at, the rest of 2021, what's like one big thing that you want to, accomplish this year?
Big thing. One big thing for me is I want to move out to LA. I since I like finished school, I was living in the dorms in New York, and they sent me home like right away. I still don't even have all my stuff back.
Oh my
So
God.
I wasn't expecting to be living at home with my parents for the past year. It just kind of happened with COVID. So my goal is to eventually, like this year, hopefully, just be able to move to LA and probably live with like a couple friends. That's a big one for me.
Yeah, Jana, I think that is some amazing goal that you've set up for yourself for the next year and even in the next like few years. And I honestly can't wait to see how you continue to grow.
Thank you so much.
I think that is a great place to end this episode, and I really appreciate you coming onto the show.
Okay, yeah, it was so nice meeting you.
Of course. And for our listeners, make sure to tune back in next week to Women Running Businesses.